few days ago, I interviewed a British brother named Peter Triton, and he was an international cocaine trafficker who got caught up in Ecuador and ended up doing a decade in their insane prisons, right?
In,
So
in,
we talked
in
briefly.
Ecuador, he did time.
Hmm.
How was the prison down there?
Insane,
I bet.
insane. You got to check out that interview. It
Yeah.
is insane, bro. He wrote a crazy book as well, El Infierno, which means hell. And we talked briefly about the paranoia that goes with the outlaw life. In addition to rival clubs, your own club members, and law enforcement that was actually after you, how did you manage the paranoia?
Well, I tried to, anytime I was having issues of paranoia, I would let my intellect guide me. I didn't work off my emotions. I would let my intellect, I would think about something, I would measure it out in my head, and then I would make a rational decision. I never made, I certainly went with my gut from time to time, but I didn't make decisions on emotions. I made intellectual, rational decisions, and that's how I dealt with it. And I'll tell you, a lot of times I would, if I suspected somebody, I would put some counterintelligence out there. That was, some of my stuff from the Marines and the Department of Defense. I put out counterintelligence, and if the information made its way back to me, I'd only tell one person something. So I'd know that this guy was talking, maybe to the cops, maybe to, one of the other brothers. But, when I would tell stuff, I would specifically form it a certain way. And if it came back to me, then I would question that individual if he could be trusted anymore.
I watch a lot of video, um, a lot of archive video, a lot of current video, and I don't recall seeing near one non-white member of Hell's Angels. Did Hell's Angels accept non-white members?
Well, I'll tell you, that's an interesting story. If you look back in the old archives in San Francisco, Sacramento, these were the early charters: San Francisco, Sacramento, San Bernardino. There were black members. There's Mexicans. There's Chinese. I think his name was Phil the Chinaman out of Frisco. There were some black brothers. And as people started going to prison, the guys returning, we went through some heavy changes in the club. And what they did is they adapted the prison color lines, is basically what happened. And, people have accused us of being racist and whatnot, and that's not the case at all. It's like, I've gone to the East Bay Dragons, that's an all-black club in Oakland, and partied with them. They come to the Oakland clubhouse and party with us. And they don't have any white members, but we're still friends with them. And what happened is the people were coming back from prison. Not only were they adapting the prison politics of you stay with your own race, and then you are aware of prison politics, how treacherous they can get and serious they can get.
Yep.
They took it to such an extreme that in the 1984, so many people had come back from prison that they wanted the members that had been in prison wanted the death head mouth closed. The mouth was open on the death head, and they had adapted such prison politics. They said the mouth's got to be closed because it looks like we're talking. So that's how extreme some of the guys were. And now I don't know if there's any black members in the United States. I know there's black members in Europe. I know that in Canada there's been black members up there. But to answer your question, in the United States, they kind of process themselves out. Like I say, we're friends with the East Bay Dragons. They didn't have any white members. We didn't have any black members, but we still interacted with each other. So I don't know if that satisfies your question, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
When I was a kid in Harlem in the early 70s, there was a a gang, not a gang, a club, that had its headquarters around the corner from my block on 113th Street in St. Nicholas. They were called the Black Unicorns, and there was nothing like that around. Like they were the only. Like they wore the whole, the cutoffs and the chaps, and
They were a bike club.
Yeah, they were a bike club. They were a black bike club, and it had choppers and extendeds and all kinds of crazy bikes, and they rode heavy and partied heavy.
Right.
An uncle of mine was in that group, in that club, and aside from them, like in terms of outlaw motorcycle gangs, I didn't see any others, and even in preparation for this, I didn't really come across a lot of black outlaw motorcycle gangs. Were aside, like back in the time that you came on and came into the outlaw life in California, were there any or many black outlaw motorcycle clubs that you'd come across?
You had it's interesting. You had the Chosen Few in Los Angeles, and what was interesting about them is they had a all white chapter, they had an all black chapter, and then they had a mixed chapter. So it was kind of crazy. I used to run into those guys up on the Kern River, and but they're the Chosen Few. They're still around. You could probably look them up online and you see what their patch is, red and black patch, if I recall. But they've been around for years. Pretty big club at one time. There's some black clubs in Chicago area, Detroit, I think down in Louisiana. But the prominent black club is the East Bay Dragons. And did a lot of information on them, and they might be a good subject for an interview. They've been around a long time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna get on that.